Share screen. It's saying host disabled attendee screen sharing.
The host has got to enable it now because the security arrangements wouldn't let us
Yeah.
know.
Try again, host.
Okay, I need to open my file first, don't I? Again, we should have tried this.
Been having too much fun, host.
Yeah, no. It wants you to.
Dressed.
Okay. Let's see if I can get this time. Okay. You can see my screen?
Yeah.
We can.
Yep.
Okay. What I've done, guys, firstly, I've chosen a few of my orders to go through from 3 people to more and more and more, how many we've done in the studio and the ones I managed to find. And then I'm going to go through individual sittings as well to individual pictures and describe those. Thank you for all of you attending this. This was a seminar I did live for the MPA. Janice was there, so she will know all these images. I was going to put Janice's own one, but she'll be bored then. Okay, so for the MPA, we invited families to come, and so that we do a live shoot. Let's see if I can do a single. When you go, where's the show enter full screen? Okay, is that good?
Nope.
Okay, we invited people I've never photographed before.
No, nothing's happened this end, Hoss.
We're not seeing it, Hoss.
You're not seeing it?
Nope.
Hold on, maybe it's the sharing again. Can you see it now?
No.
We see
It's
it
only
now.
sharing. You shared your Explorer page.
You need to unshare and then share the correct page that you want to do now.
Okay.
That's a page we can see just with that file there. I can just see your mouse move.
Yeah, okay, I will come back to that. How about doing it? Let's have a look. Where's my Zoom?
It's turned into a frozen funnel.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Right, hold on. Zoom.
Lead for
How do
You
I
get a
come out?
decent machine like a PC, Hoss.
It is. No, it's, I'm looking for the to unshare. Oh, there it is. Hold on. Share it. New share. Okay, let me bring this up and then I'll do it. How about we do it this way?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
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 Okay, that's easier. Okay, we invited these people to come, and this is Hardik. He's a photographer himself with Maz Mashru in Leicester. And while I was chatting to him, I said, "Oh yeah, we're doing this, and I'm gonna look for." Oh, he said, "I'll come." He's always sort of fancied coming over and seeing me and all that, so enjoyed having him. and he brought his family over. You see it still?
Yes.
Okay. So in the pictures, what I'm looking for mostly is oval shapes and triangular shapes, pyramid shape, that type of thing. And try and keep the heads at different levels where we can. The head angles always towards the center. Although I say this is for detailed, really competition work and that sort of thing that you're trying to do. Whereas on family portraits, all I'm looking for is mostly a good, pleasing hands, pleasing angles, and good expressions. It is what we sell. It's what we're looking to make money out of. And people don't really mind the style of lighting you've used or whatever. In reality, though, they do see it without knowing. So you really need to be as best as you can. On casual poses, for instance, creases on shirts, things like that, which you're seeing here, it can't really be adjusted. You can't push somebody and keep pulling their shirts on, tell them not to move, because that takes the whole fun out of the shoot. So I tend to have my lights at 45 degrees to the family. I only use one light on the family, and the rest is reflected from my walls. And then I've got two lights which are in each corner of the background that brighten up the background a little bit, and then later on we'll obviously Photoshop it out or whatever. For this purpose, as there wasn't a white roll or anything, this was easier to put. So what you're seeing there, you'll see a lot of this combination where the little girl is on her tummy lying down. It's always fun for the children to go under daddy's arm and that type of thing. So I do that, and sometimes you see different person going under. And please, guys, ask any questions as it goes. Hold on, what's going on here? Okay, and you see that most of my poses with each family is the same. I've tried doing the full the game play or that sort of thing with families, but at the end of it, I find what they go for is the ones I've posed, they're smiling, looking at the camera. So these ones, normally people have most of what other photographers do. I'm not saying it's wrong, is put everyone how that is, and then have them line up, which I think brings the heads away too far from each other. This way I've got mom's arm on back of that, daughter's arm on back of that, and as you can see, the little girl supposed to be holding the mom's arm, but she's obviously let go in the last minute. Okay, this is a different way of doing the headshot for everybody. I get that sitting, and the rest of them are literally bending forward to add in, or I brought the little girl up on a stool or something, so that, on a box, so that she's about the same level. When I first did this pose many years ago, he won me the Kodak Family Portrait Award. And actually the guy who said, "Oh, I pushed it for you," was Maz Mashroom for this. And so I had to do it for them as well. So keeping the girls, always the older one on top, little one lying down, that type of thing. Still, I have a triangle. I normally have, again, I've seen this pose done without the little girl's legs showing. They look like they've dug into the ground and they're not sort of, they haven't got legs. So always, I like to show the leg coming up. I always have feet pointing as well, which again, some cases it works, some cases it doesn't. It doesn't really matter. It's just as long as you've got the basics sorted. Okay, on this pose, normally the wives are shorter than the men. I stand them on a footstool. So they'll bring them up. They really enjoy this. They make a laugh at it. And while I'm shooting this pose, which I do, as you can see, roughly at a 45 degree to their faces. At this point, I have moved the light. I've brought it forward so that I get a little bit more shadow on the near side of us where we're seeing, so that you add a bit of shape to their faces.
Os, may I ask you a
Yeah.
question?
Yeah.
With regards to height for the lady, would it
Yeah.
matter if the lady's eyes were higher than the man?
Listen, you're talking now competition and preferences. I don't think it matters at all. There are pictures that I've done where the lady is standing and the man is sitting, and the other way around. I was
So for basically for purchases, you're saying it doesn't matter, but for competition, does it matter?
it depends on the judge then. For instance, normally, recently I've heard Ray say, oh, why is there a finger or a hand on the shoulder on the other side? And he doesn't believe that it should be there. Whereas I think it shows the connection. We know whose hand it is. We don't have to imagine it's an alien hand or something.
That's not her finger on the
Somebody
other hand.
else.
That's his earlobe. He's got a deformed ear on the other
No,
side.
that's just a finger there. I should have retouched that, but that doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, it's something that people. I mean, we've talked about it so that we notice it, and then next time, if the client sees it, then I'll remove it for them. But I normally have the full hand coming out. You see it on different shots as well. I was asked to photograph this business guy at Dorchester Hotel, so by this lady, and it turned out that he was the king of Swaziland. They didn't want to tell me beforehand so that I don't put my price up. I went there and I'm still thinking there's a businessman coming over and there's a lot of guests and things standing around. Just as I was asking, I said, what does this guy do? What's the thing so that I know what I'm posing? It's a king of Swaziland. I said, what? Anyway, they walk in as the family. This is with his 7th wife. They walk in and I had the chair organized there. I got the wife to sit and the king was standing and the children were on the side, and the audience then said, you want the king standing? Yes. I don't want his head below anybody else. Oh, yes. So, and then I did the opposite pose as well. So I got myself out of that hole.
And which one did they buy, Hoss?
They actually took 5x5 of everything as proofs, and they didn't come back for any enlargements. Later on, when I went to the embassy to collect my money, they had copied the 5x5 on a copier and stuck it on the wall. So if they're stealing, we can't expect anybody else not to.
Os, would you normally advise them not to wear white, or have you got them to wear white specifically because you want the reflection off the shirts?
I actually asked these guys to wear white, but I didn't know what the background was going to be at the time. I arrived and the dark was the background. I am fine.
It's just controlling the light on the front of the shirt. Sometimes difficult. You've done it. You're fine. But when I've done it, usually the shirt turns out to be brighter than anywhere else, or the face is too dark. That was all. It's gone very quiet.
I think Hoss is frozen.
Not that cool, is it?
Oh, what a shame.
He's gone.
No. Remember, it's being recorded, ladies and gents.
I'm being very quiet for me.
You'll have to edit this bit out.
Yes, it does look as though Hoss is gone, unfortunately.
I think the heavies from Swaziland have just come and taken him away.
So Shall I tell him to rejoin?
Yeah, do you want to, Janice?
Just a thought. Personally, I would have liked to photograph them against the white background because this makes everyone look a bit heavier. So, you know, he says he didn't have a choice about background. So just, you know, if customers do turn up in white shirts to my studio, I'll be photographing against a white background. Just be interested to find other people's opinion on it.
Oh,
Sometimes find that people don't quite understand. They think that they're going to disappear into the background, and then you explain that the lighting will separate them.
I was going to
but
say, yeah, we've lost you, and they're all discussing your. Hang on, I'll let you back on, Hoss. Speak to you in a minute.
Yeah, when you've got light against light, sometimes the customers seem a bit apprehensive because they think that they're going to disappear. But of course, you know, if you light it properly, they're separated anyway from the background.
My line's really quite simple, and that is, it's an optical illusion, but if you're going to wear a white shirt against a dark background, it's going to make anyone look heavier, and even the skinniest of girls don't want to look heavier. And they go, oh yeah, we get it now. So that's when I changed the background to white. So Hoss, did you have a choice about a background?
No.
Would you normally photograph, would you try to change the background to white if they're wearing white shirts?
I always shoot on a white background unless it's a classical look. By the way, sorry, my internet went down. The classical look is the only one I change the background for. Sometimes I use the black background, depending on if I feel a little bit more creative. I find most people prefer the white background, and I think it works in anybody's house. They don't necessarily have to have dark background or this background or brown background. It's just, I find mostly what they've gone for is the expression, the poses, and not worried about what the background is. And to me, the plainer, the better. And if you go, for instance, if you use gray background and everything in their house is brown, then that gray is going to stand out. That gray is going to not match anything. So I've always thought, okay, if I want to match, the only one I would probably, I did try gray for a while, by the way. The only one I would probably go for would be sort of not light the background and keep it slightly towards the gray. But that's very rare. That's the fact, because as I've said before, and you've heard me say before, if I get people wearing white and my background is white, and I print my own work, so therefore there's much less ink used. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, okay. Move on to the next pose here. Okay, this is obviously the same pose. As you can see, I normally have men sitting with their legs open and women with their legs closed wherever I shoot. So earlier on when you saw the girl sitting, that one there, so her legs are, the older one, her legs, her knees are together, whereas on the man, you get them to sit more open. You can shoot that as an individual shot, man or a woman. And most of these poses have come from shooting them individually and then thinking, okay, how do I put these poses together? And gradually I've reached to this point where I can do these with my eyes shut. I go in on a Saturday, whether I'm feeling good or not, I can do them. And again, I've said before, my jokes are the same, my poses are the same, and people seem to like it and buy it. I've tried doing different poses, and it's always these ones that they go for. So what I'm showing you, all the poses that have sold. So again, feet up, showing long legs, because women would always like to have long legs. And that looks longer than the man's does in that pose. So that works. The hand of the guy, I would normally ask him to pull it more towards himself so that we see the side of the hand. But especially with Asians and Africans, they like to show their jewelry, so I won't bother too much with that. You can go around straightening shirts, things like that, and you shoot if it's for competition. If you're thinking you're going to shoot at that level all the time, then it's just going to take a bit longer, but for me, not on a Saturday. Okay, a bit more of a serious pose. I wanted sort of to have the family just not smiling so much, really looking. What I do at this point is I tell them to smile and then let go. And so the eyes are still in that slightly smiley space rather than staring and looking miserable at the camera. So we saw the straight lying down on the floor, the other one which all the heads were on the same level, but this is again different levels and more of a square image. That's the same pose as the guy had when his wife was behind him. So it works individually too. I have the light, as you can see, in his eye that is to our left and slightly above, so it's giving him more of a cheekbone on this side. Just going back here, man's head should either be straight or tilting forward. Should never allow your customer, male customer, to tilt their head back. I'm going to demonstrate here on the, can you see me? You can't see me, can you? You're looking at the images. Okay. I'll show you later. Little bit more turn towards the camera, stronger look. I normally chop the head on this one, and just because I want the attention to be on the eyes and no more. Okay, young girls enjoy looking like fashion models, and when you blow a fan onto their hair, they love seeing it. I do this pose smiling and not smiling so that they look either very fashiony and strong or really just having fun with it. So that works for younger children. If I see a mom that's, a young mother that has long hair, this would work as well. But if somebody with short hair, it just doesn't work. More of a closer shot just to get those eyes popping. Still on a 45-degree light. Can you see that?
Yeah. Hoss, when you do these individual shots, are you moving your softbox in a lot closer than they would have been on the group pictures?
Yeah, so that I get more of a drop off on the shadow.
Yeah. You can see that in these shots, yeah.
I was just chatting to the attendees that day, and I looked back and she was just like this. And I said, stay in that pose. I put the fan on, very heavy hair, as you can see, only just puffed up. And I thought I loved the pose and I just took a shot of it. So I'm always looking for something else to do. I tell you what, I always look for other poses that I might be able to do, so that just to get me out of not being so bored. But everywhere I look, there are things that I just think, okay, well, that's sell for me. So just the head lifted, fan on, and now we've got the eyes.
Oz, do you shoot for the moment, or do you try, would it be your intention to try and create an image that lasts through time? And as an example, is those jeans are popular today, but might not be in 10 years' time?
I know, but okay, there's two ways of thinking. You're thinking, okay, you're going to create something that's going to last, not just for the family, but photographically, or is this picture for the family that they're going to enjoy seeing what they wore those days? So there's different things for you to think about. If you want to,
Yeah.
you can, retouch that out or not. But look at it, only a few years back, you wouldn't have a girl tucking their shirt in. And now
No.
they tuck their shirts in.
Yeah, it was an observation. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't
No,
a
no, I
criticism.
understand. No, I know there's good things to say because
I'm thinking economically because if it's fashionable now, in 5 years' time is unfashionable, they've got to come back for an update.
Well, they'll have changed in age as well.
always.
Then they're nagging their mum, you got to change that picture of me on the wall, you know. You got peer pressure. That's a good marketing.
There you go. So there's the mother. She's got long hair, young, so I thought I'd shoot her in a more fashion look. I go up on these ones, stand on a stool or something, so that I get that selfie angle. And also, we've all known, if you've known cover shots before, everything they shot was from up here. So that's where I learned this from, to shoot everything from above.
It extends the chin, doesn't it? It gets rid of
Yeah,
this.
it reduces the chin, it gets rid of anything under the chin, and so you get singular chin instead, and it opens the eyes. Okay, now a little bit more classical. We had this family who dad couldn't come, but mom came kindly with the two daughters. Obviously, with the saris and things like that, things need to look a little bit more formal, more staged than that. This family have been to me before, and they loved everything I've done, and they keep coming back, which is good. As you can see, the hands are very nicely put on gently put on the mother's lap. You need to lift the hand up sometimes and just shake it and put it back down so that she has the curved fingers. I always allow the hole in between the elbow and the body, because that shows that the waistline is small, and also it allows us to even Photoshop it a bit more if we need to. Kept the mother on a small box and the children on each side. Again, hands are very gently pulled. This is the most casual I would go, wearing a sari. Most of my clients, when I had a studio in Edgware, were Asians and Africans. So I was very much, while everybody was shooting white backgrounds and casual, and Venture had come over running around and things, I was still wearing a suit to the studio and also photographing everything formally.
Are you using more than one light on that one?
This one, yes. On
There's a
this
second
one,
catch light.
there is a catch light, yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember why we put one on. I can't remember at that time. But yeah, again, for competition, you need to remove the other catch light, and but it doesn't matter as for clients. They're not going to worry about it. Although I find that if you do retouch it, it makes it look that little bit different. They say God is in the details. Don't they?
I was only just trying to understand your lighting rather than.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, no, that's good. I'm just trying to remember why we added the other one. Was it because of the skin colors were darker? No, because the other ones were the same. Anyway. So this is a different version of the older daughter sitting, the other one sitting exactly the same in the opposite. This works only if they are different heights. So you still have that triangular look. I was really amazed that day. Well, I wasn't amazed because it normally worked for me.
Do you want to see your light setup for that, Hoss?
Yeah, that'd be good if you've got a picture of it.
So you had your 45, and then you had a big overall. I think it was just so dark.
Okay. Yeah, it must have been because it was just too dark.
Yeah, I think it was just an overall up high, but your main one was over to the left.
Yeah. Thank you. So you just have to look at the saris, and things have a certain shape that they need to be on. The women normally sit there putting it together, and that's me in there. You guys can't see that one.
Some can. You
I
joined
added
with
it.
the dad.
I added myself as the dad. Again, you can do this both ways. You can have the older child sitting, young one standing. Notice the feet on the girl standing, 1 foot forward always, so that the body turns a little bit and they're nice and relaxed. I got her to hold her skirt a little bit so that her hand is not just dangling, doing nothing. Sometimes I'll ask them to lift slightly as well, the wrist. The young girl is sitting exactly the same as the mother was. That's the opposite way. Because she is still taller than the younger one, it just works. That's fine. Would have probably adjusted that other hand. There you go, mom's lifting the skirt up a little bit. Notice her body is turning away from the light. Her head is turned towards the light. There's a nice, gentle, relaxed hand at the bottom. And then you work on the smile. You guys shoot classical work at all? No?
Yeah.
Somebody's saying no, somebody's saying yes.
Mhm.
I love shooting classical. Firstly, you don't have to do too much. And secondly, to me, it's timeless, absolutely timeless. Because that could have been taken a century ago. So again, this is more of a Bollywood look. I call it the seal pose. Well, I like the pose. I do it on the casual looks a lot for the girls. Depends again, sometimes they're moving more towards me, sometimes the body's turned more, something. Just depends on how they look good in it.
Also, I don't know if you find the same, but when you get somebody in a pose like this, or some of the earlier ones where they're actually leaning on a hand, I think you have to kind of ask them to not put too much weight, otherwise their shoulder starts. So you haven't done it in this one, but I mean, sometimes
Right.
the shoulders can
goes
come
up. Yeah.
way up. You have
I
to kind of explain to support themselves from their waist rather than putting too much weight onto their hands.
What I say is, once they go down, which the shoulder goes up, then I say just pull yourself up.
Yeah.
And they do that and it works. So I mean, some people can't support themselves from the waist, just especially at this angle. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, you're right. You keep making sure that the shoulders are in the right place. One shot for the. I do this again with casual ones as well. To me, it doesn't work here, but I was just doing it for them in a way, and if they like it, fine. If they don't, then that's up to them to choose. I would have the mom's feet pointing, but it was sort of between the expression and everything else at the moment. Especially when you're shooting in front of photographers. I'm not sure if anybody's done it before. It does get hard because your mind is working double time. Should have got rid of the thumb, but the feet are good. The expression is good. She's holding the skirt nicely. She's too young to hold the pose too well. So if they like it, it's good. When I sit somebody down, I always push them a little bit, body to come forward, sit up and lean forward. Not in her case, but in a lot of cases, you lose the tummy as well as you have created the triangle within the shoot. I used to do this in the studio a lot, where I put a flower in front as well that always sold. There's one that every single time sold to parents. Does it look cute? She's a little bit older, so I wanted her to look a little bit more off camera and posing. Again, I ask people to sit down. They normally lean back. You have to push them to sit off the back of this chair. I say Queen never leans back, so they always push them back. They smile, they like it, and then pose the rest. The look away pictures work for some people because they see it as a candid shot rather than them looking directly at the camera. I don't know if you know, in the olden days, every painting that was done with eyes looking away from the camera, because they believed those days that looking at the camera, looking at the artist or the painter and drawing it in that sense was flirting with the artist. So they used to have it looking away, and then gradually started seeing something else, which is more power, looking at the camera than looking away. I think that was that. Okay, this was another seminar I did where Judith was there herself. Okay, Mom at this point couldn't sit down and the chair we had was a bit too high. I've picked this session because these are, I've gone there, they had a white background which we put down, although it's been cleaned in these cases. It was unexpected for me, who they are, what they are, the equipment I had there, the chairs and the boxes and things like that. So he didn't have a purple shirt to wear. I have the mother kneeling at the back and hands in front, leaning on top. Again, the same pose, it just looks different every time you do it, because people create different angles. Now, I would never put a little boy on the, that size boy under the arm of the dad, because it's too feminine for him to be lying there with his feet up. Again, both arms on the back of that, leaning in, hands touching the arm. So you see these poses on different number of people. Here, in my studio, it's against the wall. So I just sit them against the wall and I go up on a stool and shoot handheld from above. My joke at that point is that I'm doing this risking my life without aid of safety nets. Same pose again. So this one, the lady's body is a little bit less of an angle, so legs don't look so much longer. Just depends what you prefer, how people are, what size they are. Always try and do a cool shot of the children with dramatic lighting to give them that. What this does to parents is they go, wow, doesn't he look grown up? Doesn't he look mean? Doesn't he look, it's where they like to go with it. I used to be asked, why do I cut the top of the head? Now, if you look at television, most of the close-up shots, the head is cut because everything is landscape. And to me, it brings the eyes all the way up and it stops at the eyes rather than going above the head. So I messed up his hair. He had a hoodie, which I said, put that on, shot that one. Probably looked better in black and white, but I like the shot. Mean look, squatting down. It's very strange that although a lot of children play football, they don't know how to squat. Especially at weddings, when you go to the men, they go, can I have too many of you, can I have men? They all go, no, I can't squat. I can't, my leg, my knees, my legs. I'm thinking, you're young. I can still do it. So very head on, very confrontational. I'm going to talk about heads here. In this head, he's looking directly at us. The head is straight and it's not neither gone up nor down. So this is a level guy with us. This guy is looking at us. We are the same, but we don't want to dare go closer. So in that one. But in this shot, we are smaller than him. We are nothing. He's so much powerful than us that he's looking down at us. So I believe I bring that sort of thing into my images, where I'm trying to create either a level guy, either somebody who doesn't care about you and looking down at you, or somebody who's confrontational when the head actually, the forehead comes down and the eyes open up more. In competitions, they would tell you, oh, there's no catch light in the eyes. Fine. You can either put it in yourself. I don't mind about that because I know this type of picture should not have the catch light in the eyes because you want to make it dark and scary in the eyes. But if you prefer it that way, that's fine. With this one, although it's a butterfly lighting, his nose is so upright that there's no shadow under it.
Did you put the post-processing in to get the vignette, Hoss, or is that the lighting that's done it?
No, it's afterwards on Lightroom.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, the seal look, but this one much more gentler for the mother. If they can't have an arch on the back, I normally come closer. She was a little bit straight, she couldn't pull up a touch, so I came closer and didn't do the legs. Same pose again. Going up, and that one. Notice the hands are a little bit different. Some people can't do the hands perfectly, it's too difficult, or they've got a big bust, they can't put their arms around it. Again, people don't notice that, whereas we do when it comes to here. And you know she's a photographer, so. Okay, on this pose, the legs are straight, but then turned to one side slightly. She's more, obviously the weight has gone onto the back hip, onto the right hip. So you drop the hip, you're creating the shape. The head is turned towards the light. The wrists are good. That's better because now she's turned her body away from the light. I shot this one to show how it would look compared to this one, where it's up. Makes that one look boring. You see that? It's only a matter of twist. So that's the serious look, fashion look, and that's more of a smile for the family. These ones, you can have the shoulders turned towards the camera or keep it straighter, part the arms even more, bring the hands forward a little bit. It's all different things you can do. So just go right down. This is what I call the recovery position. They go down there. This is good shot sort of as a full or a close-up. As you can see, the curve looks fantastic. It has a nice curve on it. The fan is blowing the hair. Guy again with his head turned. And a smile. Okay. Somebody's after somebody in there. On this one, in the studio, again, the wall, I have the guy leaning against the wall. Some people say, oh, but what are you going to do with the shadow? If the shadow wasn't there, he's not leaning against anything. It looks as though he's falling back. He's sitting with his legs apart, leaning forward onto his knees, leaning forward. This is a good, powerful portrait that it brings when you're doing headshots for executives or things like that, brings the guy forward, because then that gives the impression of they are strong and they're willing to go talk to people, more presenting themselves. I've done this shot naked as well. It works with pregnant or couples that are willing to go that far. She was actually willing that day, wasn't she, Judith? Is she around?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, she was. She was very willing.
She wanted to take everything off. I'm like,
it's actually great to see how these have turned out, because obviously I was there on the night. And I know how dark that room is and how big that room is that you worked in. So to see the finished article here is absolutely brilliant.
had you not seen them? I thought they shared it all.
No, I'd only seen, yeah, but I'm not a member of the MPA, so I just went as a visitor.
All right.
So I
Where were they
don't
taken,
get to see any of the after shots. So
Newcastle.
we're taken in a little pub come restaurant in Gateshead, and they've got a little function room out the back. But it's been done up now, but before it was like quite oldie worldy, and the lighting was like it's like
There's nothing,
dark
just
brownish, wasn't it?
yeah. Obviously, we're working with the lights on flash rather than sort of what is available. But yeah, as long as you know what you're doing.
Can I just say something? Do all couples in Newcastle only have 3 legs then?
Back to the dance pool.
And 4
Sorry,
feet.
Hoss.
And 4 feet.
Yeah, yes.
That's why he works better naked. I tell him that. Hold on, the wife is here.
Do you ever correct those tight trousers that, depending on how they're twisting, the material seems to ride up?
Yeah, sometimes I just retouch it afterwards.
Yeah.
It depends. Like that one, especially when you point something out, straight away you just go, yeah, okay, I might as well adjust. If that's what they're wearing and whatever,
Yeah.
Sometimes I've gone beyond and I've created better images with, touching the clothes, things like that. And then I say to the client, by the way, I removed that thing. Oh, we didn't mind it. And you just think, do you know how long it took me to do this? So, yeah.
It is a minor point, though.
Absolutely, it always is. On these shots, by the way, all I wanted to light was the top bit, and that was the intention. But the lighting in the room, what the thing wasn't allowing me to do it. Like for instance, I wanted more of a silhouette at the bottom, so I make sure that the top half looks much more brighter than it does at the bottom. Again, a different pose where this is same pose as the guy and the wife behind, but then on this one I turn the woman a bit more around, the guy leans in, so the woman becomes more fashion, the guys become the support on this. See, for instance, Ray would say, what are those fingers doing on that side? Yes, they should be a little bit further in, but I don't mind it. I want to make sure that this guy is cuddling his wife, not just standing there. That's where she was willing.
She stripped off pretty quickly as well, didn't she?
Yeah, but we didn't see anything, because what I do with people that are willing to do it, but they're shy or they don't want me to see anything, I tell them, look, this is the pose I want you to go through. I turn my back, look back, and put them in, tell them to do the pose. I then turn around and do the shoot. I adjust remotely with my hand.
Voss, going back to what you were just saying about the fingers showing and so on, and perhaps Ray would comment on that in the competition or so on. But I always remember Charles Green saying, "Pictures for show and pictures for dough."
That's it. That's
And
exactly
it is, that just completely sums it up. It's not something that the customers, worry about. It's just natural to them. But
Look at
competition,
this.
different.
Yeah, if you look at this image, the hand on the shoulder is not correct. It needed to be a little bit further in, and much more gentle. But they were sort of clutching next to each other so that nothing was showing. But if you took that hand away, to me, the woman falls back because there's nothing holding her.
Yeah, with just one hand in the shot, she could almost be pushing him away. But with that second hand over the shoulder, she's definitely holding him. Yeah.
So that's my thing behind it. I need to see that connection.
I think it's the connection is the big one, isn't it? The link of the two people.
So there he is. I took his shirt off as well. I thought let's do a cool shot of him as well. As you can see, the light is much more contrast here, much more closer to be able to get it. He had really deep eyes. So even though you can see by the shadow of the nose, even though the light is right down, can't get the catch light at all. Much more stronger look, showing muscles.
He was right up for it as well, wasn't he?
He was. What was he?
I'm saying he was right up for it as well.
He was really cool once we started going. First, they always tell me, the boy is shy and be careful. And he was just fantastic. He was game for anything. So mom and son. Okay, he's sitting down on the floor and she's kneeling behind. Just bring the head. This works on husband and wife as well. I was looking to create something, but okay, on this one, as you know, the light is gone totally to his right hand side, to our left and away from us. So it's coming back and we only see the front of his face. I like doing this as well. This is what David Bailey, for instance, used to do, which is having a really stark white background and lighting the front in either a 45-degree or butterfly lighting. Really love that, and to me it creates an amazing look. Okay, and that's that one. Now, the classical look in the studio. What I call royal chair. I have these old books that I put on that thing. Who's shot classical before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'd like to do it though.
Yeah, this is just something else. It's just so beautiful to me. Because people dress up, they come really looking good. They wear their best outfits, and it's just, I love it. Especially when they wear saris and African outfits.
Would a classical look have a smiling face on it though?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I always find you get lovely skin tones, no matter whether they're pale like me or dark like this guy. The skin tones that you get once you put a dark background and go for that sort of more classical lighting, you get beautiful skin tones which pops them from out of the picture. It's lovely.
This one actually, I haven't even prepared this one. This one I just cropped it and put in here. My cable was showing above on this one, and it's just because I wanted to show you. They went for this shot of themselves because it was closer for them. So that's the one they ordered. So having the plastic plants still in the studio, For those of you who are used to use it,
It's at our Paul K Studios, I think.
yeah. You've been there, haven't you?
Yeah, I used to go every month to the
Same here.
one of the portrait group.
It's
Yeah,
amazing. He used to shoot on a Mamiya C330, even
Yeah.
when the digital had come out. And you
Yeah.
used to say, but Paul, what about Hasselblad at least? What about? He said, no, you said, I don't need it. This does it. He didn't even crop on camera. Okay, as you can see, same pose as I did with the other family for the show, I did for these guys, and here, baby sitting. Now, I couldn't have had the baby standing on this point, so all I got mom to do constantly was put the girl's feet, cross the girl's feet. It's always nicer to cross it, so they're not just dangling two ends from the skirt. Makes it look like children's drawing of a woman when they draw the triangle as the skirt and then two legs coming on each side. Okay, this is a casual sitting in the studio, all wearing white. As it happened, the guy was Iranian, wife was Irish. So this is now we're talking about 5 people rather than 4 or 3 that we've had. So same pose as the guy, but this time I get the guy to not bring his elbow back, but to have his hand dangling so that the girl gets more support up there. The boy sitting on the mom's back is always fun for them because they think it's just funny sitting there. I always tell him, hold daddy so that he doesn't fall. Not himself, but daddy. And do you know, I don't know what I say to these people that they smile. So I always
Obviously saying something.
my jokes, I mean, sometimes I'm not even started talking to them and they're smiling. And that itself gets them going.
There's some great expressions.
One of the, I don't know if you've heard me say, one of the things I was working on to see what else I can do was to come up with the number 66. So I asked the family, what comes after 65? And a lot of people say 67. And then that makes the rest of them laugh and everybody laughs. So, and then if it's just a group of men trying to, you know, look all tough and whatever, I tell them, do you know which year England won the World Cup? In 66. So that works as well. Again, the headshot. With the little ones, this is sort of gets a little bit tougher because they move a lot and you got to make sure the mom holds and things. This shot is not meant to be shown like this. This is totally just a panoramic of the head and shoulder. So although I sell it to them like this, I tell them, show them a cropped version as well to say this is how it looks. As you can see, I'm back on the same pose for the children. They love, families love it because it just shows their closeness, shows, you know, that they're having fun. And if I'm getting an expression, I'm not going to go in and adjust things.
Although the parents will probably say they don't normally act like that.
Yeah, exactly. I had a mom bring 4 girls in. She wanted pictures. When she left a review on our Facebook or somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but she said, I cannot believe how host managed to keep these children in one place at the time. She said, it was absolute nightmare at home. And they just did everything host said. It's amazing. So it's good to get these things. Like look at the boys' fingers on top of, you know, I wouldn't put this in a competition. But did the mom and dad buy it? Did the mom and dad love it? Yes, they did.
Yeah.
That's what they want. We went, I don't know if you guys know, but some people do. My son, Oliver, younger one, used to date Henk van Puten's daughter in Holland. And they went out together for 4 years before splitting up, which was sort of quite a strain between my and Henk's friendship at the time. But gradually, I've managed to convince him it's nothing to do with us. Things happen like that. The amazing thing is when we went there to see them first time, he wanted to photograph us. So there's a picture of just a headshot. I said, look, I want a headshot as well of the four of us. And the shot we've got is, Hank said, let's pull faces on the next shot. And Tracy's always very reserved, so she said, I won't do it. And Oliver turned around to one side and in her ear and was saying, why won't you do it? And that's the moment Hank took the shot. And that's the one we had in our kitchen, a 32-inch image on the wall for many years. It's now upstairs. But yeah, so sometimes that mood, that moment means more to you than it does just looking at the camera. And if you can capture that type of thing, then why not? So they like this pose. As I say, I do the more of a fashion strong pose. They went for that one. Oh yeah, this was a completely classical look of family of 6. So you can see the full length of how they're sitting, what is around. It turned out that girl top left is an actress, and I have seen her since on, she does more of a small roles here and there, but mom and dad, this pose has to be chin to forehead. So that's the rule on this pose. Mom's hands on this one, I'm totally okay with. Yeah. This one, mom leaned, it wasn't away enough to lean slightly forward. She leant in too much, but slightly apart, and that would have worked much better. Man sits down, foot on another stool so that his knee comes up. I mean, even though what we say, what we want them to wear, the girl on the top left is not wearing a formal outfit, whereas the rest of them are.
And she's wearing stripes.
Yeah. What they bought, I think they bought £1,200, so you know, I'm not going to complain.
No. Are you lighting this with more than one light now?
No, just one light, and on this one there isn't even a background light. This is just in the studio. I only have one light on this side.
Right.
And the rest is just bounce off the wall. Actually, this does have there's one light on the background opposite. Sometimes I put on which you can see the hair light on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. This does have that one.
And the top of her shoulder as well, you can see.
Yeah.
It. Yeah.
But it's not sort of a fill light.
No.
Oh, the last one there, yeah.
So what modifier are you using on that to get the light to transfer across so many people? Are you feathering it?
No. My light is umbrella.
Right.
Although, yes, I know with softboxes you can do a lot more adjustments and things, but in the studio it takes too much space for me to put a light box, and you know, because we have a seating area just about here where you can see. I'll show you once I'm off the screen. Can you see me in there at all or not?
No.
No.
You can't see my, I see, okay. All right, so we're gonna go into just various images I've done of different families. That's grandparents with their grandchildren. Don't get me wrong, they do have head swaps. So don't think I can control this many children in one go. Right? So although I try and try, but then I'll start concentrating on each child to make sure I've got their smiles, and then we'll swap heads.
Boss, when you're doing a group as big as that with so many youngsters in, are you then putting a camera onto a tripod to make the head swaps easier?
Everything
just-
is it's always on tripod.
Right.
I only take it off if so I know the person is going to stand still and react.
Cool.
I always come off the back of the camera for them to see me when I'm photographing, so that they're looking at my eyes, or that's why, or my face. That's why I think that they laugh. They see my face. But yeah, no, I'm on a stand rather than tripod.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll show you all right at the end. Family with the dog, again, sitting against the wall. They did want a lot of the shadow moved on this one, so I said, well, I'll do it, but I have to leave something behind. So we've got a tiny bit showing. Two brothers. I always like to have this sort of mean MTV look type of thing. I tell them to get their shirt off. This is not their own thing. I always ask them to, do things that they wouldn't normally do, because I think it works for me. They normally say, oh, you're as a photographer, you're capturing somebody's personality. Whereas I heard Richard Avedon say, it's actually a reflection of our personality in their life. So we can't capture somebody's personalities unless they do what they want to do, and we just take a picture candidly. Splitting the groups is always works. I've done this with grown-ups and children. There's one coming up which was a family from Denmark. The MTV look. When I came from shooting only formal images in Edgware, I came here, and obviously my clientele completely changed from being mostly Asians and Africans to a lot more European. So when I came here, I had to come up with things, and my sons were listening to a lot of hip hop and things like that. And I thought, okay, if children and the new generation like this type of thing, and the parents are seeing what they like, then we should photograph them like that. I have this pose that I do with 3 or 4 children normally, where I make them look like they're singing for the camera, band shot. I go right down and shoot so that they're looking really powerful. This family came with their first European outfits, then they put these ones on. Again, these type of thing doesn't work black and white. This has to be in color. Just gives that sort of vibe coming out. On some of these walls, it just looks gorgeous. Same pose, the dad, the mom. Now notice I've got 2 here now. This one is in between the 2, so my triangle is gone taller. And the dogs.
My goodness.
So yes. I've had 24 in the studio. I couldn't find the picture.
Gets very warm, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Especially in the summer, it becomes almost impossible. Yeah, I start with the man sitting, the grandfather, then mother with the back. Then I create these 2 on the left-hand side. Then this family here. So I try and keep the families together. Then I don't know who is who from there. But I think these 2 are husband and wife. These 2 are, no, they can't be husband and wife. She used to be young. Anyway, could be, never know. So, and there is always one child that just doesn't want to be in the picture.
Only one.
There's only one that doesn't want to, and it's always that ruins my portraits.
Mm.
So was the one missing?
The one on the woman on the right's lap.
Yeah, she's holding her pretty tightly, isn't she?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't move.
And this starts from sort of crying, and these, although they can see everybody's there, all their cousins, and but anyway.
You usually find the mothers get angry, and that creates more tension.
Yeah, that's even worse. True. That's totally true. So these guys would walk in and they're all looking, cool. They don't want to have the pictures done and all that type of thing. And normally I find with my joking, and I'm, although Tracy always tells me off for being so sexual, I would say, my jokes are all about sex and things like that. So it turns out that they laugh, they love it, they walk away. The most serious guy in the image, I would normally say, "Oh, I think this guy fancies me." And they're like, "That's why he's not smiling." Oh, okay. And then he cracks out. That's it. It works for me because firstly, I have an accent, bloody foreigner. And so they take me with a pinch of salt all the time. So it works for me. But sometimes if a woman turned around and said that, it just doesn't work. So this is a good one where the woman has pointed her toes, hands are nice, even the young boy is sitting nicely, the dog's sitting in the right place. It just works. The older girl is because the younger girl moved and wanted to be near dad. Again, she was the one who didn't want to be in the picture at the beginning. So it broke that triangle, so it created a gap, but that's what they went for. So these are all ordered pictures. This one, although I could have done it as a full thing, I tried to do this in split group. And it's always difficult to find then the right heights for people. I had to go with other pictures and things, but they liked it, so that's the other family in this pose.
This is always a big seller for me. This laying on the floor, cuddled up closely together. It's I think it's what they call a hot shot. I think.
Yeah, there you go. It works.
Yeah.
I would normally remove these legs if it's a grown up or whatever, so that they all look the same. There you go. That's the other guys again. This time the tough one was the bottom left, and the guy on the right didn't want to show his teeth, so. If people would listen, these shots would be so perfect.
That's a lovely shot, that one.
I mean, if I had even more people in this and just had faces showing, it would have been nice. So he's sitting on dad's lap, the little boy. The girl is standing on a footstool. The one at the back is just as tall as his mom's bending forward, and the girl on the right. There are friends of ours who've done this pose differently. They've put it on a long table and had everybody leaning. I prefer this for me. You guys get different varieties of nationalities where you are?
Yep.
Yeah.
I find the Chinese don't buy. Did you get that?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, I mean, she even walked in, she said, you know, we go every year to photographers and have a picture done. So, and they walk away. They literally have the shot, choose the one, buy. No chance to even talk to them. Okay, this is the pose for, although you can do the same as lying down on the tummy and feet up, When there are two sisters, what I like to do is cross them over like this. You can even go further if you want to cross further. I want to see almost the joint between the bodies as much as I can. But this is a nice shot as well. Nice pose to do. That's their tough one. So I wanted to show you guys that he's sitting on a little box. The woman sits down with her elbow on his lap. And then I put the rest around them and him there. Sometimes I have people coming out of under his arm if there's more of a group. But on those, you can't see the legs. And this one, they liked it because they saw little boy as the pinnacle of the image. If this went in the competition, you would think it's the boy's hand that's come all the way across to the other side. With long arm, wouldn't it? I asked them if they mind seeing the nappy or the baby grow or whatever. There's only so much you can do with these ones.
There's a point where they won't sit still, isn't there?
That's it. These, the husband and wife, I photographed their wedding here in the studio. Although they had wedding shots done, they wanted this. He is photo man. He was so proud of his sons and how they looked and everything. So. I have a chaise longue, which I put her on it like this. I wanted more of a formal yet casual look, what I would call the more sort of Hollywood casual. And then I brought her up sitting on the side of the chaise longue as well. I quite like this one. Oops. The other one I've done, with an Indian family before, where the chaise longue was fully shown. And I think I preferred that one with the chaise longue than this one. I like it when people appreciate what you've done, what you go for. I'm sure we all do. It's just when they come up with the excuse, they can't afford it yet, they knock your work down, that's when it's sad. This pose again, I get moms to hold the baby. I turn my back, I tell them what to do. I go back and they're in the pose. I just tell them where the hands a little bit more or whatever and do the shot. This one did well in London Portrait Group. Again, if I took that hand off the guy, it looks like he's not there. He's not holding anything. I don't know. That's the dad of the other family I photographed at Epsom. Do you ever do this? You can really hang this any way, shape, or form you like.
Mm.
So I have to hold the camera out, standing on a stool, and tell them to look at the camera. I threaten to drop the camera on them.
Yeah, I find with that you have to have the lighting as you had it there, very flat, straight onto them. Otherwise, you get a very strange lighting on one person or two of them when their heads are in that different aspect.
That's right. Especially, on the weekend and on Saturday when I'm shooting that type of thing, it's just too much work to be able to start adjusting things correctly on that.
Mm.
Another larger family. It's amazing. On some of them, it just looks perfect. Some, they just won't hold the pose. This guy came to me. He wanted some pictures with his girlfriend. The girlfriend wasn't so dressed in his type of outfits or whatever. They wanted the picture, so I just did what I could. There's a family shot from above. Again, they're leaning at corner of my studio. I later gave the woman my tuxedo to wear so that she matched in the group. Who's talking? Sounds coming in. Okay.
Janice is green.
Is it? Okay, mother and son, they were Eastern Europeans, and there's no husband in this, so wanted some strong image. I saw she had highlights in her hair, which looked amazing, always black and white, and put a bit of wind into it. There's a tiny bit of catchlight in her eyes, some in his eyes, but again, this did well in competition for me. I still try and enter competition because I've known people who left competitions completely and come up with things that are already done. So I always try and keep my hands in. On a family group, I always try and put the older child right above in this pose. See the difference where it is. And some people won't take their socks off. Again, he's sitting against the wall. I'm dead opposite on top, looking down. On the children's portraits, I always try and get families, the parents or whoever is more fun involved. I have a feather duster. I give it to the dad or whatever, or mom, and I say, look, tickle the children if you see them not smiling, but don't put it on my head, okay? Don't put it on my head. And so the mother or father realizes that they got to put it on my head, and they do that, and they make the children smile. So that works. It's always these tricks that you always look for to see what can you do to make people smile.
Thing is, with your gold head, that works, Hoss.
Always, exactly. I always joke on my head that I talk to the children. I say, you know what? Oh, can I have some of your hair? Or I say, oh, do you like my hair? They go, you haven't got any. I say, oh, I do. It's in the washing machine today. You can see the shape is always towards triangle. Again with older couple. This one, I get the man to lean against the wall, and then the woman just comes right into his arms, and I actually put the arm around the...
His shirt and his jacket's like a puzzle that hits your eyes, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you can't stop people wearing what they wear. And their dog. This dog would not sit. As soon as I moved, followed me. So we have to have that. This works on young children, the parents. I recently did one of myself on the bed just with my grandson. So always, if it's a bright color, it has to be in the middle. In this case, it works because it's mom. This is one light, my beauty dish from above. It takes a lot to get somebody, you know, firstly for them to take their clothes off, or you ask them. I normally show pictures. I say, look, do you want a little bit, something a little bit more creative? Do you want to do something like this? And they normally say yes. If you don't show, you don't get. So that's the last one of those. Any questions, guys?
No, excellent, thank you.
Just bring up my Zoom again, on share. So you can see me now. Okay. Let's see if I can show you. Okay, the light you're seeing there, yeah, is my umbrella that I use. So that's it's got a black background and white inside. The top corner that you're seeing is my lights that I use. They're only 250 watt lights. Over. Oh. That's right after my twist, yeah, and that just sits about there a little bit further back. Probably be out of the shot. I'm not sure. See, about there. And I have my 5 minutes here. This leg, the depth here is only as much as somebody can lie down. So they're close to the front. I have a door here which I go out. That's where Tracy sits, and that's where I can go back to photograph bigger groups or things like that. Or if I want to shoot full length. Let's have some light on me. There's just not enough light in here. I'll work it out for next time. Switch this one on. Sorry about that. Okay.
Brilliant, Hoss.
Thank you very much. Most of my work now is just for money, and I haven't asked anybody to come back and for me to shoot for competition, things like that. Normally, I used to ask people and shoot in the evening, and be able to get all the images you've seen me do on competitions. But now I'm mostly thinking about retirement, maybe 5 years time at the most, although both Tracy and I don't want to work anymore, just as we are. Are you guys starting on the 15th at all? Are you marketing for it?
Yeah, I plan on starting on the 15th.
I think I'll go back on the 15th, but I'm not looking to start shooting until maybe the second weekend in July now. It's still rife up here. We still got people dying up here, so I think it's just too
dangerous. But yeah, that's what I've been saying as well. I'm thinking, okay, supposing somebody comes here and then goes and then says, actually, I caught Corona from coming to your studio. Not only I want the pictures for free, I want this, that, and the other as well. So they have to say they're coming in on their own risk and their own discretion, because otherwise we could be opening ourselves to anything.
I think as well, though, it's this track and trace thing, isn't it? So if somebody comes into you, and then a week later they come down with a virus, and you get the phone call to say somebody that's been to you's got it, and then you've got to self-isolate again for 14 days, haven't you? So I don't think that's then going to look very good if you've then got to start ringing your clients up that you've got booked in to tell them that you've got to self-isolate. Are you going to lose them people? Are they going to want to come back to a studio?
Exactly. They wouldn't want to come back, would they?
You know, this is my thinking now.
There's a lot of... Go on.
No, I was going to say, I think you will know by your clients judging comments and how many are pushing to come back in as soon as possible. And if you know those people are logical people, we put a post up on our Facebook page at the weekend stating that we weren't going to really open until August, and all our clients have come back and said thank you so much for thinking of us and being safe, etc. So I think it's just judging the people in your own area, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, just shows you what they're like up here, though. I had a lady rang up yesterday. She wanted a portrait of her 6 grandchildren. So they're all from different houses, 4 houses, I think it is. And she wants it on the 20th of June. And I said to her, I'm sorry, but we aren't able to open until the 15th of June. I don't know yet what social distancing and this, that, and the other that we need to put in. And I'm not planning on actually starting to reshoot until possibly the 2nd week in August. Do you know what she turned around, 2nd week in July? Do you know what she turned around and said? Well, you open on the 15th, you've got 4 days. What's your problem?
Not your customer.
Oh, exactly. But I just thought, well, where's the mentality of people? You know, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
No, Tracy had a comment once. She put an advert on, you know, NHS thing. Somebody turned and said, "Oh, stop riding on this NHS thing," and you know, it just you can't please everybody.
You can't. No, you can't. And I think you've got to feel safe in yourself. And I think what you were saying just now, Hoss, about protecting yourself, you know, from the chance of somebody coming into your studio with it, greatest thing that we've all got to do. You know, we've got to think selfishly and protect ourselves, and by doing that, we're protecting others.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know we had this discussion the other day about people coming in and not being able to use the toilet. And I had this big thing in me bonnet here about, you know, if somebody came in with a little 4-year-old girl who desperately wanted the toilet, I couldn't not say, no, you can't use it, because I wouldn't want the little girl to wet herself. But then these guidelines that have been brought in for today, where families can meet in the garden, but they've got to walk through the house and they can't use the toilet. And I thought, well, there you are, there's the excuse, not the excuse, but there's the perfect outing, isn't it? Yeah. It's a government guideline, you can't use the toilet. Because I just kept thinking, well, if somebody's going to come in, the little girl possibly might wet themselves, which would be absolutely heartbreaking for the little girl, and I wouldn't like it to happen in my studio.
Be careful.
I just thought, as long as they know, you know, they're warned in advance, aren't they?
Yeah.
Be careful, Judith. I read the other day, and I can't remember what it was on, but the guidance was you're allowed to go in to somebody's house to get to a garden or use the loo, but the requirement was for you to clean the loo down afterwards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think the safest thing is just to send them all to Durdle Door and let them go to toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah, before they come.
Yeah.
Come.
Have you been to Durdle Door before you've been in? Yes. Well, thank you very much. Goodbye. So have you got any more questions for Hoss? Because I thought that was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I love Hoss's work. He knows that. So he showed us I would have said was good anyway. Brilliant. Yeah, fantastic.
Thanks, Hoss. Yeah, great.
Over to me when you retire, Hoss.
Sorry, say it again.
Pass all your customers over to me when you retire.
I think you already have all our customers.
Although one of those pictures was some people I know, and I'm like, oh! Yeah.
Which one?
As a family of 4, a very young boy and a much older boy.
Okay. Well, there you go. You can't tell, can you? I mean, we had a family here, which they were extremely pleased with the picture, but they didn't have any money to buy anything. So they ordered what they wanted and they went. And then another family has gone to Janice for, where they could have come back.
All the images you've shown, are they purchased pictures? So they've been.
All of them were orders,
Yeah.
apart from the 2 seminars that I've done.
Just so I know how much they've spent with you as well.
What is their name? Do you know?
Yeah, I do, but we're recording. I'll chat to you later.
I
about
can
it.
tell you. I don't mind. Photographers, we're not going to phone them and say, how come you spend this with them and not?
No. I just won't ever speak to them again.
Yeah. You have more charm than me to get people, so.
All right, ladies and gents. Well, I just want to thank Hoss again. It is a masterclass. We all know that. And it's been absolutely fantastic. And so, yeah, big round of applause. Thursday night.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Hoss.
Thanks, Hoss.
Thank you.
I'll record this now, but I've already recorded it. Obviously, I'll put it up later for those that want to see it. But thank you again, Hoss. And the longer we're in lockdown, the more I'm going to come back to you.
Listen, I'm having fun. Next time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the camera, the computer in the middle of the room. So I can actually do a live workshop type of thing and bring somebody in.
Now you've ruined it, because I was going to say, how about next Monday? But we'll sort that out. Maybe you could get your son and wife and new daughter in.
Yeah, listen, they were difficult enough for me to just photograph them, let alone for themselves, let alone putting their pictures out of them.
Well, I just want to thank you again, Horst. Much appreciated.
Absolutely.
You know everybody else is.
What I do.
Yeah, I know, mate. I much appreciate that. Thank you very much, ladies and gents, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Absolutely.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.